Who's next?
Hey, how y'all doing? Back again, another great episode of the Impact Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson. Today, we're here with someone special. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Coach.
You know, it's your favorite coach's favorite coach, the Diva coach. Head women's basketball coach at Alabama A&M University. What's going on the It Factor Podcast?
Yes, indeed. It's a blessing to have you today. I would say, how are you doing mentally, physically, and emotionally?
You know, God is so good, and He's done a really great job as far as really showing up and showing out in my life. And I've counted, every opportunity, every spotlight, every relationship as a direct reflection of how good He's been in my life. And so I don't know if I could ever even be in a more happier stage. I'm really blessed.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's what we want to be. That's what we want to be, a happy stage. I say I'm at that stage now too myself. So thankful, got some good things coming and really happy about it. So
I'm happy for you.
Yes, indeed. Look, I'm happy to be here today. I'm glad we finally set this up. Been a while, but thankfully we finally came on. Look, we got to do it in person too. Definitely.
Absolutely. It's been it's been a long time, but I'm glad we back.
Yes, indeed. So I say, what's been your driving force behind your career as a head coach? You have been at some amazing places. So take me behind that, and your journey over the years. It's been a while.
I knew that I wanted to be a basketball coach when I was in the 7th grade. And it was something about the relationship that my head coach had with us, with the team. And just being able to have someone that's like a mom, that's not really a mom, that kind of understands the things that my mom don't understand, or that I felt like my mom didn't understand when I was in the 6th and 7th grade, it was something I just knew I wanted to do. And am I lagging over here on this side a little bit?
Not at all, actually.
Okay, good. Okay.
If it seems like it is, it's because of the stuff, but it's gonna be fixed.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. But yeah, I knew that I've always wanted to coach basketball. The level of athlete didn't matter to me, because I just wanted to be impactful to some young woman and to be able to be in a situation to change her life.
Got you. I love that. You're definitely doing that. I mean, at every place
Thank
you go, even in me doing my research and following you for a good little amount of time now, and I say that I'm proud of what you're doing, and that leads me to my next question. What you going into your next amazing season, which is the second season with Alabama A&M? What are you looking forward to?
Honestly, just being able to impact the community a little bit more. Women's basketball is evolving right now all across the country, and being able to build a fan base, a community base, of supporters, of fans, of friends, of family, to be able to come here to celebrate, to evolve, to lift up young Black women here at Alabama A&M is something that's most important to me. Everybody understands when you're playing sports, you got to win, right? Everybody knows that winning is the ultimate goal, but I know that to be the standard. But there are other areas of their lives that I want to be able to impact and influence, and that's really what does it for me.
That's amazing. I say, what's your it factor? Why do you do what you do?
The satisfaction of kids to come back to say, Coach, thank you. I want to be able to leave my legacy knowing that I did this thing the right way, and that, I preach family, and I try to hang my hat on family with my team. And I want that to always be the case. And I want kids to come back to say that woman gave me the best 2 years, the best 4 years of my life that I've ever had being a student athlete.
I love it. I say throughout your career, your teams have been known to have grit, resilience, and purpose. How do you instill that mindset in your players?
I think in order to have grit and to play with a purpose and all of that, you have to really deep down inside know your worth and know your value. because you got to be able to have access to those characteristics in moments where you're gonna have to show grit. Where you're gonna have to buckle down and be tough and have a passion and play with pride and show your purpose. You got to know those things exist on the inside. And so my biggest challenge right now is just making sure that they understand their worth and their value. So when they get in those moments, as it relates directly to athletics and basketball, you'll be able to have access to those.
I say also, what is your philosophy when it comes to player development on the court and most importantly off the court?
Well, everything that we do, we talk about culture. We talk about, and what does that look like? We have high expectations for our young women as far as the way that they handle themselves on and off the court. They know that the standard is the standard. We're going to compete every single day. We're going to be excellent in the classroom. We understand what the goals are. We have obtainable goals, and we want to be able to touch those goals. And we know what that looks like. But we also want to be able to embrace and embody the true meaning of a family, being my sister's keeper and having each other's back. And if you were ever to sit in my practice, you'll hear kids leave. Every kid that leaves that tells me bye will say, "Coach, I love you." And we say that I love you like that. That's a common thing in our house on our team. And so everything that we do is centered around love. And that's a lot about what our culture stands on.
Indeed, and I love that. That's why I want to give you your flowers today because yes, when things are centered around love and peace and family, when you start to see things just come together,
Absolutely.
not
Absolutely.
only just winning, but people winning in life.
Right.
That's what I see that you have done with these young ladies over your tenure. So I
Thank you.
commend you for that.
Thank you.
I want to take it back a little bit though, back to your playing. How did it? How was it playing at JUCO before transferring to Jackson State University?
Junior college basketball was some of the best years that I've ever had, I think, in my life.
Mhm.
Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, being a Mississippi girl all throughout, elementary, middle school, and high school, having an opportunity to move to Atlanta, Georgia as a freshman with your own apartment. And you lived off campus in downtown Atlanta behind Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, and Morris Brown at the time.
Mhm.
It was really, really, really dope. And just the relationships and understanding really and truly at that point what it felt like to put a team together, because you have young women coming from all over the world coming together for one common goal. It's different when you're in high school and middle school because you grow up with those kids. Say you go from elementary to middle school to high school. You get a few here or there in between, but for the most part, you all matriculate together. So playing junior college basketball really put me in a sense of understanding the definition of what sisterhood really means. And so those were two of the best years that I've ever played basketball, really and truly, in my life.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And I say, outside of the game of basketball, outside of being a wife, a mother, and also just outside of being a great person, who are you?
That's a good question. I'm a nurturer. I'm a friend. I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a change agent. I'm a motivator. I inspire, and I don't take those things lightly. I always try to speak life and to pour positive aspirations into everybody I come across, because I'm crazy enough to believe that God has a purpose and a plan for each one of us, and He wants us to have the desires of our hearts. But we have to always believe and not allow the devil to disrupt what God has in store for us, because sometimes we can block our own blessings. And I try to be that woman to help to send that friendly reminder to everybody that I come into contact with.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. I say,
Thank you.
you also led the Lady Tigers to a SWAC, regular season coach championship. More than a couple times. You did some good things there. I say, what do you remember most about those years playing for Jackson State University?
Well, winning was the standard, so we knew that we were gonna win, right? There's no if, ands, buts or about that. But the most important, I mean, something that stood out to me the most outside of the relationships, outside of the standard, was Jackson State allowed me to be me. Um, I used to put on makeup and lipstick before games because I looked up to Cheryl Swoops growing up. And that was a real thing during that time. And I think that kind of ignited the Diva coach, that passion and what that looks like. And so, oh, I'm sorry. and so, just being able to have an opportunity to be myself was something that I will forever be grateful for.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Also, just seeing the things that you do now as a coach versus as being a player, man, that's cool. It's cool to be on the other side. How does that feel to be on the other side? Now, yes, it's been some years, but I know you were like, hey, I would have did this. So how did that feel?
That's a good question. I remember because I knew I wanted to be a basketball coach in the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there were some things and decisions that my head coach made that I don't think that I agree with. Just like my kids now, I'm sure they don't agree with stuff that I say or do all the time. But I remember instead of being frustrated, I remember instead of being combative or to be resistant,
Mm-hmm.
I was processing in my mind as a coach, what would I do differently? And in those lessons, in those moments, I said, I would never do that way. I would do that this way. So honestly, it was like on the job training for me. That's how I looked at it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'll say, my next question is, when it comes to your fashion, because you're the diva coach, you look good on the court. I'll say, what inspires your game day fits?
I have a stylist, Tanya Pugh Johnson. She's out of 16th Cross Pearson in Birmingham, Alabama. Shout out to T. Um, she's the person behind all of the sideline swag and just being able to know who I am as a person and my personality and the way that I carry myself and the things that I stand up and believe for. She wants to give that vision to light. And in order to do that, I have to think outside of the box and I have to be okay with doing things that ordinary people would normally do. And I allow her to cook in those spaces, as she has done a wonderful job of making sure that I have that.
I say for any young lady that wants to be in your shoes someday, what advice would you give them?
I would give them, I would share with them that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay for you to show up and be who you are. And that's okay if you're not for everybody because we're not designed to be for everybody. But what you have to do is learn to let your light shine as bright as it can and not let the disease of me, right, psych me out of what God has in store for me.
And also, what would you tell that college recruit or that high school player that's trying to get to college and play? What's some advice you would give to those young
It's not easy.
ladies?
And don't lose yourself trying to fit in and doing what other people would do. The grind is going to be hard. The expectations is different. Your body will go through a change. You will grow up and realize that there are other things that you start feeling and emotions and a lot of different things. But don't compromise who you are to try to fit in. Just be yourself. Enjoy your college years and embrace the process.
What have been some of your most memorable moments as a head coach and as a coach in general?
Obviously, winning a championship as a head coach at Prairie View A&M University, beating the University of Arkansas when I was at Arkansas Pine Bluff, and making history this year at Alabama A&M. My first time in my career that I've had a 20-game winning season. And then most recently being invited to speak on a beauty panel for Essence at the Essence Festival and representing L'Oreal. Those have been 4 really, really dope ass moments in my career, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. Talk your stuff. Talk your stuff. I'll say this though. I'm proud of what you have done. More greatness is gonna come. Those are
Thank you.
moments, but I can't wait to see those moments. You see, as I do, I'm gonna repost the moments. We're gonna be following you and supporting you as time goes. I only have a few more questions. My next question is: when it's all said and done, what would you like to be remembered for in the game of basketball and in life?
That I'm a good person
Mhm.
and that I'm always someone that you can depend on and that you can count on. And I'll always be there for you. Um, that's it. That I'm gonna always have your back no matter what. And that and she's loyal. And whatever that looks like, with basketball, winning. Yeah, winning championships, being the best, going down in the history books of doing things that have never been done. And I have been doing that. And I've been doing that. That's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. That's a good question.
I say, what do you want your children to take away from all the great things you do as a coach and as a leader? 'Cause you're a great leader. Great leader.
I want my son to know that I did everything that I was able to do because of him as my motivation,
Mhm.
because I wanted to give him a life that I never had. And I grew up in a great family with a 2-parent home, and my parents made sure I had everything that I could possibly have. But as times are changing, I want to be able to give my son that and more, and put him in a position for him to understand that now, sooner than later. So when he's in a position to start his family, he would understand the values and the morals of what's necessary for his son and his children to be able to follow in our footsteps as well.
So, do you have any questions for me?
I don't. I really do appreciate you for being patient to get me here. But this has been a very good day. This has been a very good interaction, and you got me thinking about some things and some perspectives that I've never even thought about. So thank you for that, and making me feel the way that I felt today. I appreciate that.
Thank you for being here today. I'm glad I can make you feel that way. And if you need anything, let me know. We here.